Okay, this is Scott. It is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Wednesday, October 21st, 2020 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission for the town of Fairfield. Before we start, just a quick roll call. Scott Walker is on, Brian Nareau, Mary Von Conta, Jessica Gerber, David Weber. Is Chris McCoy on the line? Sorry? Guess we're going to say no to that. Bridget's on the line, Jamie's on the line, and is Dylan on the line?
Hi, Scott. I'm here.
Hey, Dylan. Okay, so we have a quorum. Welcome, everyone. Again, we'll call the meeting to order. First item on our agenda is to act on the minutes from our September 16th meeting. Has everyone received an advance copy, and are there any corrections to those minutes?
Yes and no.
Thank you. Okay.
Ditto.
Again, any corrections? Okay. Hearing no corrections, the minutes are approved as distributed. Thank you. Next up is public input to discuss any emails previously sent as suggested. We have received no emails other than the ones that are on the agenda. So moving along to new business, to hear and act upon a request from Joanne Schoenfield for a food drive at Owen Fish and to place a Purplebox for a food pantry at various safe locations in Fairfield. Is Ms. Schoenfield on the line?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody.
I'm Schoenfeld. I apologize. Okay, so welcome. If you could tell us all a little bit about your request and proposal.
Okay, so the Purplebox Pantry is a movement that was started in the Midwest, and it's a mini pantry movement. It's similar to the little book boxes you see around town. And there's a huge lack of food, as we all know, in this country and in this area here. And a woman named Susan Brown, who's an attorney up in Milford, started around 8 purple pantry boxes in her town, and she's had an amazing success. She does food drives. She gets donations. For the first couple of months, she actually used a lot of her money to fill them. So these are boxes with unperishable food, basically cans of tuna fish, protein or whatever, peanut butter, granola bars, cereal, and it's open to the public. Anyone can take it, and the concept is take what you need, donate what you can. As I said, she's had a lot of success. She's placed it on a main street in Devon. She's actually placed it at an art gallery near Silver Sands. So she's placed it in many different places. So I contacted her because I thought it was something that would be really good for down here. I have placed one box at the Wakeman's Boys and Girls Club down in Bridgeport by the Burroughs Community Center on Fairfield Ave. It's been there for a month. It's basically her clientele who have access to it because it's not on the street, and she fills it herself. And she does plan to do a food drive eventually in Southport, which is the parent company of the Boys and Girls Club, which is the Wakeman's Boys and Girls Club. So I have contacted different places to place it. The town has not gotten back to me. I wanted to place it in front of some of the senior housing over by Kohl's or over by the community garden. I have not heard back. I do have a location in Bridgeport on Clinton Avenue, a woman there who I know is willing to put it out in front of her house. Anyway, so the deal is there are these mini pantry boxes. If you want to Google it, purple pantry boxes out of Milford, and it's kind of a costly endeavor. It costs around $25 to $30 a day on average to fill up this box. And she goes through over $240 approximately a day. up in Milford, and she has had many food drives. I've gone to a couple of them with her, and the community is very, very receptive to this project that she's taken on. They've been there for around 7-8 months now, and that's pretty much it. So I've actually contacted local grocery stores. BJ's has given me gift certificates, Stop and Shop, and I'm looking to do food drives to get this whole message out there about this new mini pantry movement that's going around the country, as also in Milford. So I live over by Owen Fish, but there are other areas that I would possibly like to have a food drive, like the Veterans Park perhaps, possibly downtown by the gazebo. I'm not really sure, but I just didn't want to start putting signs up and start trying to collect food for this pantry box.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, I have a question. It's Brian.
Okay, Brian.
Joanne, I think this is a wonderful idea. I commend you for trying to move this forward, but I guess I'm a little confused. What is it that you're asking of us tonight? Is there
okay, so I contacted the first selectman, and I asked her for permission to use Owen Fish Park and or Veterans Park to run a food drive, and she said you need to speak to this committee, which is your committee, and they're meeting tonight, and I'd like you to join the meeting. So basically, she said I need permission from the Parks and Recs Commission in Fairfield.
Okay, and so you say a food drive, but this is a continuous event, correct?
Oh yes, no, I don't plan to have continual food drives. I'm just, maybe I would do it once a month, once every 6 weeks. The person up in the Milford area does it at an art gallery, and they get permission from the art gallery. The property that the food pantry box is actually on the premises at the art gallery, but. So she has permanent permission to have food drives. Now myself, I just don't want to go to a parking lot, so I would need a public facility. I would do it possibly once a month, once every 6 weeks. So it would be an ongoing drive. I would pick a day and publicize it via Facebook or social media.
But it's not like little libraries where there's going to be a purple box at one of these locations permanently. Once a month,
as a matter
you will.
No, it will. It's going to be. I'm planning on it to be permanent. I'm not sure. I'm planning on it to be permanent, but it's a movable piece of. It's a movable box, so if the food is being stolen or it's being vandalized or it's being, taken out, like within a second one person takes it all, I'll have to reconsider where I'm going to position it.
I want to try this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm dominating the time here, but I'm still confused because you say you want to do this once a month, but the box will be a permanent fixture.
Right. So I'm planning on supplementing the food drives with putting the food into the boxes. The other way is I'm going to have donations, etc. Yeah,
so
I'm not putting the box. I'm not planning on putting the box where the drive is.
No.
Okay. This is Jamie. Maybe I can follow up. I'm also confused.
Okay, go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, thank you. So what you're asking for us is, so there's two things. One would be putting a box permanently in a park. That's one kind of question, or one kind of request. And then having a food drive, a single event that maybe is recurring, is another kind of request, and those have to be scheduled and approved. But Are you asking for one or the other or both?
Well, I wasn't really thinking of having the box in a park, and I was not
Okay.
thinking of that. So, no, it was basically doing a food drive at a park in order to gather the food to then bring it to the pantry box.
Okay. That makes sense. So you're looking for us to approve an event, a food drive event, that would need to obviously be approved as a kind of event, and then second, would have to be scheduled and when it's the park is available. Okay. Thank you. That clears it up.
Scott?
Yes, Mary?
Now, you have these purple boxes. How much food can they hold, approximately?
Well, they can hold, if you want to look at $30 worth of food, but basically they can hold maybe, it depends upon what you want to put in them. If they're 5 cubic feet, so you're basically putting maybe 3 or 4 jars of peanut butter, 6 cans of tuna fish, 6 macaroni and cheese containers or boxes, maybe 1 container or 3 containers of rice, maybe 6 granola bars. They're not huge.
Okay, I get the picture.
Okay.
And that would be inside a some kind of a structure, a store or something else like that, so it wouldn't be exposed to the elements or.
Exactly, it would be totally. Have you seen those book boxes around town where people put free books in it? The free book library.
Yes, I have seen.
Okay, so it's pretty much the exact same. What's that?
I say there's no control over those boxes, right? The book boxes,
right.
Somebody
it's
keeps
the neighborhoods. The neighborhoods control them.
Okay, and would this be the same thing, or would it be the store managers who would control them?
No, it would be me controlling them.
If I can just interrupt the meeting for a second, there is a fair amount of background noise going on. So if I could just ask all members, if you are not speaking, to please mute your phone and then unmute it when you want to join back in. Yeah. If I could just ask everybody to, again, mute their phones and then unmute it when you want to join back in, because there's an awful lot of background noise going. So I apologize for interrupting.
Just letting you know that it's not me. It is someone from the public for sure. So I just wanted everyone to know, because I know everyone knows that I have small children and it is not worth it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Definitely not me. Okay, so I interrupted both Joe and Mary. So Mary, you want to follow up on your question?
Yeah, all right. So you probably could get maybe a half a dozen families or could get something from that box, and then it would be empty, right?
Correct. So it has to be filled on a daily basis.
All right, and right now, private citizens are actually literally funding the filling of these boxes themselves, right?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
What I understood you to say was that the individuals who are watching over these boxes are actually supplying a great deal of the food out of their own money.
Well, I've been to the person who started it, Susan Brown. Initially, she did do it, but now I've been to 3 of her food drives. The support of the Milford town is so tremendous. They've probably given her, when I work with her at these food drives, she's probably gotten maybe 40 to 50 bags of food.
Okay,
and that'll last her probably a month, and then she has them monthly. She has these food drives monthly.
Okay, and that means, it can be, the food drive can go to her house or some place like that, and there's no. No,
she has the food. She has the food drive at a public facility, and then she stores the food back at her house.
Yep,
and then she and or volunteers that she has working with her will go to her house and distribute it. Okay.
So, and that's how that works. So it's a lot of volunteers and a lot of personal money. And then hopefully at the food drive you get more, and that can go to the volunteers. In other words, the food drive will also supply the volunteers.
Well, I will have to. I will have to I will have to. I'm going to try to find people who will take on some of the boxes as they grow in the area.
So I'm wondering if I will make a suggestion because I'm a bossy type of person. You don't need to pay attention, but you might try to draft a plan where you start off what you start off with and what your goal is. And whatever you're involving a park in or something that the town recreation has to do something about, then they can approve it as it comes along, I guess, or give an outline of what you'd like to do to start off with, and make sure that the thing is lined up, and then or you have to get the loose permission to do it, and then line something up and come back and get the final plan approved. I don't know.
Okay,
that's up to the whole commission. But I'm just thinking it has to be relatively clear, step by step, for the commission to be able to approve it.
Right.
Yeah. This is Scott. If I may just jump in, I think Ms. Schoenfield, just a couple of things that we typically do deal with. We don't deal with generally open requests for food drives or open requests to place things around town. Normally what we would want to have is we would like to place a blue box at Owen Fish. We would like to have a food drive at Owen Fish on this date between these hours. So and by the way, I think this idea is great personally, but what we need to do is we need to dial it in a little bit with a little bit more specifics. If you want to place a purple pantry box at Owen Fish, that needs to be the request, which we can take that under consideration. And if you say I want to have a food drive at Owen Fish on this date between these hours, we can take that under consideration as well. But we can't just say, and I hope you understand, we can't just say you can place it anywhere around town. We can't grant that kind of blanket.
Oh, no, I'm aware of that. But if I wanted to do a food pantry, do I have to contact the Parks and Rec every month, the day I want to do it, or how does it get approved?
I think that a reasonable request that we could probably approve a period of time that we would say you could have a certain number of food drives at Owen Fish over these 3 months, and then before you can have any more, you need to come back before the commission. Something like that I would think would be reasonable, but that's something that the commission has to comment on.
Okay, I understand from my point of view. Okay, so it's basically up in your hands, and you can let me know after. Sure. After I get off, you can discuss it.
No, we can let you know right now.
Oh, okay. So, I wasn't sure if we had to vote on it. Okay.
No. We are going to vote on it, so we're going to find out right now. Okay. First, we have to go back to the commission. Are there any more questions on the Purple Pantry box, its location? If you want to, we can either take this as 2 motions or as a single motion.
Scott,
this is Jessica.
Okay, we'll go Jessica, then back to Brian.
Hi, I'm just. I know everyone keeps saying they're confused. I am still confused, although maybe I'll know once you make the motion. So we're voting to approve the food drive at Owen Fish.
We're not voting to approve anything right now. Now there is a request to have a food drive, but there's no date set, so that's problematic there. But I think there is at least enough information before us this evening to approve the placement of the Purple Pantry box at Owen Fish, if I understand the request correctly.
Oh, so I thought that.
Let me just speak up. My plan was not to have it there, but if I wasn't planning on putting one there, I was planning on doing the drive there. Having said that, I don't think that's a great place for it because the traffic. I just don't think that's a great place for it. There's a lot of kids playing baseball there, et cetera. I don't want people just coming in, driving down the long driveway, and I think it's unsafe to be on the street because no one could stop. So my goal was not to have it at that particular park. My goal was to have a food drive there.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Sure. Is there a date of the food drive that you're considering?
no, because I just want to know if I can get the permission. I mean, if there is, I would probably do it in the next 2-3 weeks before it gets really cold out, maybe sometime in mid-November. My goal is to put this box possibly in front of churches and or maybe poor or neighborhoods, possibly in the McKinley school area if I can find a location there or near some other neighborhoods. But I can't just put a box anywhere. I need permission to put a box.
Exactly.
As I said, I don't think Owen Fish is where. That's not where I was planning on putting it.
Okay. All right. So if I could just ask the commission. All right. So obviously placing of the box is not going to be before us this evening because we don't have a definite plan there. But is it reasonable that we could consider granting approval for a food drive and with a window of time to do it over the next few weeks, or is that too broad? Anyone?
Yeah,
I think it's reasonable. This is Bridget.
I would support that.
Sorry.
The question I was going to ask is earlier it was Owen Fish or Vest. Do we have a preference?
What was your question?
And this is also, I guess, to the director, Scott, if I may. Earlier it was mentioned, both Owen Fish Park and Veterans Park were mentioned. And is there a preference?
Are you asking me?
I guess I'm asking anyone who is in a position to respond.
Well, okay. I mean, yes, I'm going to.
I'd like to hear. Yeah. I'd like to hear from you, but then I also like to hear from the director.
Okay. Well, I live over in the Stratfield section, so I think the first drive I'd like to do here, and then in the future possibly over at Veterans Park.
Okay. David, you had a question?
Yeah. If you could, I'm sorry, it's Joanne, right?
Correct.
If you could come up with a specific date for tonight, we can give you approval for that. I don't think there's a thing wrong with that. And then if you want to come back with dates in the future for other parks, I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Okay. Let me just get my calendar out. Either November 14th or the November 7th.
Again, that's your request. So you want to go with the 7th or the 14th?
Oh, okay. Why don't we do the 14th?
Okay. At Owen Fish or Veterans?
Owen Fish.
Okay. So the commission understands the request. And Joanne, I'm assuming is there a time during the day you would like to do this? Because that would tighten this one up a little bit even further. If you had a window of time that you wanted to have this.
Maybe 11 to 2.
Okay. So that is the request. Does any member of the commission any more questions, or does any member of the commission wish to make a motion to approve the request?
Jessica,
to have...
I have one question.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah,
okay.
Is there some way that we could find out tonight whether or not there's any issues with Owen Fish for that date and time? Just make sure there's nothing else planned for that location at that time.
Kelly, do you have that information handy?
Yeah, this is Anthony. I'm sorry. Just joined the call a little later. There's no issues with that date or time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I would make, it's Brian, I would make a motion to approve a food drive on November 14th at Owen Fish Park between the hours of 11 and 2 p.m., 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you. There's a first. Is there a second?
I'll second, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay. Any further questions from the commission?
Question. Are
Yes,
you
Mary.
allowing for set up and tear down time, or
11 to 2.
Is that's time to set up and time to take it down, right?
I would think that would be enough time.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Any further questions? Okay. What we'll do is just go back through the roll call and ask for yays or nays. Brian Neroux.
Yay.
Mary Von Kanta.
Yay.
Jessica Gerber.
Yay.
Thank you. David Weber.
Yes.
Bridget McBride.
Yay.
Jamie Benton.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Dylan O'Connor.
Yay.
Okay, and back to me. I'm a yay. Okay, Ms. Schoenfeld, congratulations. Your food drive has been approved for November 14th at Owen Fish Park between the hours of 11 and 2 o'clock. As you do move forward with this request, which we do all, I think we all do support it. As you probably figured out from this evening, we will need more specifics if you want to place a box anywhere else on public property that is under our authority. So if you do want to place the Purple Pantry box at some place, we will need a few more specifics when you do come back before us. Is that fair?
Is there any way that I can get like a list of where your locations are? I know obviously the 3 parks, but is there any other where would I have access to that list of other locations that you have that you oversee?
The Parks and Rec office can assist you with that. Okay. It's on the website, but Anthony or Kelly can definitely direct you to that information.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
For
And
listening.
she has to have, does she have to have approval for every time she goes to a park, or could she ask for a schedule that, covers a few months?
Right now it's one event, but if we wanted to consider it longer than that, we could next month.
Okay, so she can bring another motion before the board.
Sure. Yeah, and obviously this is a work in progress.
Exactly.
I'm sure we could work through this with her, I imagine.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your evening.
Okay. Bye now.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So next up on our agenda is a request from Patty Dyer to have a free little library installed at the Sandcastle. Is this our Patty Dyer?
It is Patty Dyer.
That's what I'm saying. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
Yeah. So you know the drill.
Patty.
Hi, everybody. So
welcome back.
Assuming thank you. I'm assuming you got our request with the drawings and the photograph in it of the free little library we're hoping to install.
We did.
We have a librarian at Dwight Elementary School that has been there for over 20 years, that was a nurse prior to that. She is just an outstanding member of this community, and she happens to live in that area. And she is retiring this week to take care of her elderly family members, and she can't continue to work at Dwight because her exposure from all the students with COVID right now puts her in an awkward position with her family members. So we were hoping to honor her by installing a free little library downtown that people could put books in and borrow books from. We have one of our parents is making the library for us. He's building it as we speak. And my understanding was that once it was built, that I could work with you guys and then Public Works to get it installed someplace downtown. We were hoping to have it in her neighborhood. She lives, I believe, on Puritan. I know she walks to the Sandcastle Park and I know she walks to the beach. So we were hoping to have it somewhere that she could see it.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
What's in the container?
I don't have that answer.
Scott, it's Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Let me just chime in on this. So we would only approve this, and again, my understanding was based on what's on the agenda here, is that it would be placed at the Sandcastle. If it's in a neighborhood or somewhere else, it would not come before us. And potentially, I guess it would go to, I don't know, maybe the police department or even engineering. I'm just not 100% sure if they were putting it in a neighborhood somewhere.
Right.
Okay,
so Patty,
Sandcastle is a perfect location for, just in terms of our thinking. I just didn't know if that was okay. So we didn't really specify where. The Sandcastle works perfectly, though.
Anthony, what's your take on that? Any problems placing a little free library down there?
No issue near the Sandcastle.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Scott, this is Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
Sorry, hey. Patty, well, maybe this is more a general question for the commission, but when we place free libraries around town, is there somebody that's responsible for maintenance of the free library?
Yes, we have a sign-up sheet at school, and somebody will check on it routinely. We have it down for once a month right now. We've done a book collection at school. So we have somebody all worked out to check on the library once a month to make sure it's still in good working order. It hasn't been vandalized. It doesn't need any attention. We also have books to refill it with if we're not, getting enough books back in. So we have made arrangements to take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Any other questions from the commission? All right, and then just one for Anthony, just so I'm clear. Obviously, Patty's group is going to build it, but this will be installed by our Public Works people. Is that correct?
That's correct. They normally handle these.
Right. Okay. All right. Anyone care to make a motion?
Jessica, I'll make a motion.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. All right. There is a motion to approve the request to place a Little Free Library at the Sandcastle Park location. Second. Thank you, Mary. Any further questions? All right. Going around. Brian Nero, yay or nay?
Yay.
Mary Von Kante, yay or nay?
Yay.
Jessica Gerber?
Yay.
David Weber?
Yes.
Bridget McBride?
Yay.
Jamie Benton?
Yay.
Dylan O'Connor?
Yay.
Okay, and back to me. I am also a yay. All right. Congratulations, Patty.
Thank you all so much. You have no idea how special Kristen Robinson is. This is really going to make her very, very happy and excited. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and nice to have you with us again.
Thank you. It was nice to be back. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Take care, Patty.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, next up under new business is the summer storage at Jennings Beach or the Marina. Justin, are you still on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can. You want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so had quite a few requests actually this season from slip holders and boat owners asking to store their trailers in our marina during the summertime while their boats were in the water on the docks. And I started looking into this, and I think this could be a nice revenue generator for the town. Like to put in up to 27 trailers in that second guest parking lot up there to the north, and then if that sells out, use 10 of the spaces that are normally the ramp trailer spots as well, for a total of about 37 trailer storage spots over the summer.
Okay. Questions from anyone?
So, it's Brian. Can I ask a question?
Sure, of course.
Justin, could you just explain? We talked about this a week ago, but Justin, for everyone's information, can you just talk about the impact to the parking? You mentioned it was really only impactful one day a year, but could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we have about 345 spots, give or take, in the marina. That includes the open space, the 2 guest parking lots, the large slip parking lot, the small slip parking lot, and the skate park. And the small slips, large slips, and even that first guest parking lot typically get used on a normal busy weekend. However, those spots in that second lot really aren't used except for on a very, very busy holiday weekend, and they wouldn't be completely used. And the only time that they're actually full would be the evening of the town fireworks, where people are parking in every spot that they have there in the lot.
Okay. Any other questions?
Did we talk to this with the Fairfield Police? Because I know they have stuff going on down there. And how about risk management? Have you run that by risk management?
I did not run it by risk management since we already offer winter storage. I assumed that the risk management was going to be okay with that, but I can follow up with both risk management as well as the police department. When I spoke with the Marine Police, they were all right with us offering some storage over there.
Question?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you could run it. Come back to us, or I don't know, Brian, if you want to do a conditional approval or whatever. I just want to make sure that we've covered all our bases.
Can I ask a question, Scott? This is Dylan. Is there any issues with respect to liability? So, if these trailers are being stored and something happens to them, can the owner then, come to us and say, well, you're responsible for the damage that happened to this trailer?
Well, that probably speaks to David's question on with regards to speaking to risk management.
We would have in the contract kind of the boilerplate wording like we do in all of the other contracts, saying that the town is not liable for any damage to the trailers if they were stored here.
Okay.
Justin, is that language in the winter storage?
I believe so. Let me see if I can bring that up. Just bear with me 1 second here.
Chris McCoy. My apologies.
Hey, Chris. Welcome.
Yes, sorry about that.
No problem.
At the bottom of the application on the front page, it says the privilege of using the town's mooring storage facilities is in the nature of a license and is not to be construed as creating a bailment relationship. The owner of the vessel and trailers hold the town of Fairfield harmless for any claims, suits, damages, or liability caused by the owner or anyone working on the vessel or the vessel itself while in storage at the marina. The town assumes no responsibility for supervision and security. So that's out of the winter storage, and once we get the approval, I would go through risk management with the contract just to make sure that the town's fully covered.
Question.
Okay, Mary?
The resident may access and remove trailers for use during the summer. So there is a parking spot that will be empty from time to time when the owner of the vessel takes the boat somewhere on the trailer, right?
There is that potential. That's correct.
Okay. So are you going to mark each of these spots reserved or something like that?
That
nobody else
yes, they'll be marked, and we'll have to add some signage in that lot stating that it's permitted trailer parking only.
Okay.
Other questions? Justin, I have a comment, not so much a question, but that's a pretty sizable space that you're going to allocate towards trailers for the boaters, and we already allocate a significant number of reserved parking spots for the boaters with those M stickers. So now, all summer long, my concern is, are we creating basically a private parking lot now for the boating community? Because as it is, if you just have a regular beach pass dump sticker, you can't find a place to park down there on a weekend unless you're parking over there on the spot that you highlighted now for any guests or just a person that wants to go out on the pier. Seems to me that we're allocating a significant number of spaces for exclusive use by boaters at this point.
Well, there would still be about 155 parking spots down in what I'm referring as the skate park parking lot. So all of that area down there, and then there would be the 49 guest spots over in the guest lot area, and then there would be about 30 in the open space area. So I think, doing the quick math, we're at just over 235 that's actually not that's open for any town resident with a beach pass.
Okay. All right.
Jason,
any other questions?
Sorry, one last question. Can you talk a bit about the fee, the $300 fee? How did you come up with that? Is that competitive with? I'm not a boater, so I don't know what people would normally do with their trailers. But is that $300 fee competitive? Where did you come up with that number?
I started a couple ways. When I was asking people, well, what would you pay? As people were asking me if they could store their trailer there, just to start to get an idea. And then I also called around to a couple of the clubs and a couple of the private boatyards and whatnot to see what they charge for trailer storage in the summer, and it varied. It was the cheapest that I found was $150, but they would stack trailers on top of each other, so you really didn't have access to it all summer long, all the way up to $1,000 for a 28-foot long trailer. So talking with various slip holders, when I was asking, well, what do you think around the $300 range, and everybody's like, yeah, that seems fair. I mean, for the folks that have property and are able to keep their trailer in their backyard or in their side yard, they're probably not going to pay that. But for the folks that might have a smaller piece of property or don't want to have to deal with weed whacking around the trailer when it's in the grass, I think they'd be willing to pay that. Talking with various boaters over this as we're starting to do the winter storage, a lot of folks seemed interested in. Initially, seemed like $300 was a fair price to pay for for trailer storage. Okay, especially with the fact that you have access to the boat or to the trailer. So if you have an issue with your boat and you need to pull your boat out, you can grab the trailer very quickly, or you decide that you want to take the boat up to the lakes or further east or something like that. You can do that relatively easily as opposed to driving well north to other places where folks can use stores.
Justin, this
Hey,
is
Bridget,
Bridget.
go
Just
ahead.
expanding on that point, I would agree with Dylan. I think it was Dylan who was just talking. I think it's rather low. I mean, that's less than $100 a month to be able to access your trailer in and out. You're taking up valuable parking space in town. It's a hot market. I think you can jack that fee up a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't want to come in too high and then nobody buy any spots. So I kind of wanted to go with 300 and see how that seemed like it passed the kind of the sniff test, if you know what I mean. But if you guys tell me you want me to try and charge 350 or 400, I'll be more than happy to try that route. But when I mentioned those numbers, folks kind of then started to pump the brakes a little bit.
Could I ask a question, please?
Of course, Mary. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you have, how many people would you say you have coming in with their trailer and a small boat on the trailer? They get down the ramp, put the boat in the water, and then where do they put the trailers while they go out and do their days of fishing or whatever they're doing?
So currently we have about 37 spots over there. And again, it varies depending on the weather and the season. There are definitely some weekend days where I wouldn't say it's I've never seen it completely full, like I have other boat ramp locations, but I would say that it can be half to 2/3 full.
Okay. And how many non-residents do you have using that ramp?
We're allowed to sell 50 non-resident boat ramp passes per year, according to the Parks and Rec Commission rules and regs.
Okay, and the price tag on that is a little bit more than for the residents? Or
That's correct. It's $200 for the non-resident ramp pass and $50 for the resident. Okay. And free for senior residents.
All right, I think that's all answer to all my questions.
Hi, Scott. I have a question.
Sure. That's Chris.
Yes, Justin. Yeah. It says here that trailers stored beyond 10/1/21 would be considered abandoned and removed at the owner's expense. Which again, that's kind of a misnomer. If they're abandoned, essentially there's no owner. So my question is, what repercussions are there on that, and would it then become the property of the town after a certain time frame?
My understanding is it is kind of a misnomer, but the 10/1, if there were boats in that area or trailers in that area, I would contact the police department. They would start red tagging the trailers, the process to begin the impoundment, and they would contact the trailer owner, informing them that the trailer was going to be impounded, and 99% of the time that owner comes down, removes the trailer, and before it is actually impounded. If it was impounded, the owner would then have to pay for the storage fees from that impoundment lot.
So that would lay more with the motor vehicle division of the Fairfield Police Department rather than with us at that point?
Correct. I would just have to.
Okay.
I would have to start that process, but they would actually be doing that aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
go through the town attorney.
Justin, this is Scott. I have a question. the 10/1 date, that does not dovetail with the end of the season date, though. Is that right? Isn't
It does
end
not,
of the season date the third Sunday in November, something like that?
That's correct, but at 10/1 and 5/17, those dates dovetail with the end of winter storage. So winter storage begins October 1st and runs till typically that third Sunday, second Sunday in May. So I can't, by doing it here in the Marina, I can't extend it to actually dovetail to match up with the Marina season.
So can you envision a situation where somebody says, "Hey, I paid for my slip to keep my boat in the water till the third Sunday of November, and I paid for my space for my trailer, and now for 6 weeks I need to now take my trailer out of the lot and go bring it somewhere else and then bring it back just to haul my boat." You see pushback from people on that?
I feel like a large majority of those people, I could see there could be a pushback from that situation, but a large majority of those people are also winter storage folks. So they will basically move their trailer from wherever their location is in the winter storage to, ideally on the 17th, they'll move it over to their summer storage spot. If they move it over a little early because that space is already available because the person that already was in there for winter storage opens up, we could definitely go with that route. Ideally, I'm looking at this as kind of a test to see if it works. And in an ideal situation, I would eventually like to see if I can find a different location to do this trailer storage that's off-site so that folks can have both the extended period of time for trailer storage for winter storage as well as summer storage. We're not putting the same piece in. We've got multiple spots to put those pieces.
Thank you. Any other questions? Maybe you want to make a motion to approve Justin's request?
So move.
And that was Mary, and you're fine with the price, or did you want to raise the price?
No, I think everything is fine.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second. Brian?
Brian is a second. Okay. Any further discussion?
This is Bridget. Can I just add a comment?
Please.
I would be in favor of approving if Justin could revisit next year with us, just to give us the update on how it went and if there needs to be any changes as far as price, location, and all that kind of stuff. So could we approve with that in mind?
Make this easy, Mary and Brian. Do you have a problem if we make this a 1-year approval?
I have no problem with that.
I have no problem with that.
Okay.
As well as getting risk approval of risk management as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian and Mary, I'm assuming you guys are okay with that as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from the commission? Okay, going around vote. Brian, yay or nay?
Yay.
Mary, yay or nay?
Yay.
Jessica Gerber?
Yay.
Okay, David Weber?
Yep.
Chris McCoy?
Yes.
Bridget McBride?
Yay.
And Dylan O'Connor?
Yay.
And back to me, I'm also a yay. Okay. Good luck there, Justin.
I'm a yay.
Thank you very much.
All right. So next up on our agenda is a skate park rules discussion. Anthony, I'm assuming you're going to take the lead here. I know you received a couple of different emails from members of the public, but there is I don't believe there's a specific request from anybody to address the commission. You want to take the lead here? Oh, did we lose Anthony?
Yep, I know I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
So glad you guys can hear me. Yeah, you guys should have received a few emails from members of the public. I think in total there were probably 6 or 7 emails that we received, pretty much stating all the same thing, that they would like to see scooters allowed in the skate park. So I don't know that many of you were around when the skate park opened up on the commission back in 2009, but I was around.
Yeah.
So I do recall all the conversations. So,
I wish Patty was still on the call.
Yeah, right, exactly. But when we first opened up the skate park, there were a couple caveats that came along with it. The first one was the designer breaking ground, who was mainly a skate park
What's your phone for?
construction company, really said you shouldn't allow anything other than skateboards, or at the time it was inline skates, rollerblades in the skate park. And the main reasons were safety, number one. Scooters and bikes all have different flow patterns that they do when they're in a skate park than the skaters. The second reason was for maintenance. The pegs on the back of bikes chip the concrete, and same with the metal, I don't know if you call it a body for the scooter, but they cause damage that you typically have to repair annually. So those were some of the main things from the builder of the skate park. The other things that are in the rules that you guys see are, requiring helmets, requiring, really helmets are the only thing that's required, but everything else that's on that list came from an insurance company saying that we had to follow these rules, and the skate park could only be open when it's fully staffed. So over the years, we've had issues with enforcing these rules. Most recent, we actually this summer had to close the park due to some activity that was happening down there, kids trespassing, arguing with police, adults doing the same. So we shut the park down for 2 weeks, and I believe you guys probably remember that we were installing a higher fence, an 8-foot fence down there to help enforce the no trespassing when the park is closed. The police requested a higher fence. So we put an 8-foot fence around the whole place, reopened the park, and due to COVID, we limited it to residents only, and they had to come and prove residency at the Parks and Rec Department, where they received a sticker to put on their helmet. And when you come to the park now, the attendant checks your helmet, you've got your sticker, you're good to go. Well, a lot of the scooter parents didn't like that when they showed up to the park with their children and their scooters, that the attendant started telling them, no, I'm sorry, we can't let you in the park. Our rules say, no scooters. So again, it wasn't really a free-for-all. It's just that the rules are now being enforced. So started getting a lot of emails, which is why this is on the agenda tonight. I'm not looking for you guys to take any action on it tonight, because as those who are around know that this is a much longer conversation, or a more in-depth conversation that we have to have, and I don't want to make any changes on the fly. So the park this year, as every year, closes Thanksgiving, so we're only a month away from the closure, and then it doesn't reopen again until April 1st, and that's how we've always done it. So I would recommend that we look at it over the next several months while we're in the off season. Whether we set up a subcommittee to look at it or we discuss it as a full committee, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But we could also look at, and I've had our risk manager and our insurance company look at going free and open as opposed to staffing the park. So we do have an opinion on that we could always weigh that as an option. I don't know that solves any of our issues other than making it a bigger free-for-all, but that's been a complaint over the years as well. So happy to answer any questions that you guys may have tonight. But
Anthony, this is Dylan.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, I heard Dylan and Bridget, so let's go Dylan first, then Bridget, if that's okay.
Sure.
Thanks, Scott. Hey, Anthony, how do other towns handle their skate parks with respect to scooters and whether it's open or staffed?
Yeah, so some of the ones that are staffed, they'll do separate times. They'll do certain days and times for just scooters. They'll do days and times for skaters. Most don't allow bikes. Others are free-for-alls, but they typically don't allow scooters or bikes. So the free-for-alls normally are just skateboards, but again, when it's a free-for-all, you just have to have a police force that's going to enforce, anytime they're getting those calls. And our police force is great, and they do get a lot of calls that they respond to.
Oh, SPO.
Okay, background noise. Okay.
Okay, wow.
All right, Bridget, question for you.
Dylan, I can speak to what some of the other surrounding towns will allow. I can't speak to how they're staffed, but I was able to look into Newtown, Westport, Milford, and Greenwich. Newtown allows skateboards, bikes, and rollerblades. All other uses are banned. Westport allows skateboards and rollerblades, but no bikes or scooters. Milford allows skateboards, rollerblades, BMX, and there's no mention of scooters being banned or allowed, which I found interesting based on one of the emails that we received that some of the children from Fairfield were going up to Milford, which could indicate that it is more of the unstaffed area. And then Greenwich, which was interesting, does allow skateboards, scooters, and BMX. And what I would assume is that they're allowing those skate park approved pegs as opposed to the ones that will go into the dirt and do more damage. So I can see both sides for sure, and I would understand the argument that scooters are a very different type of vehicle, I don't know what word to use, as opposed to a skateboard itself. So my question is it the fact that it would be too crowded? Do you think that it's going to be increased collision for the children? I'm confused as to why we wouldn't allow scooters if they are designed to be at a skate park. And I guess my final comment would be that I was able to look up at the Tony Hawk Foundation. They're an advocate for allowing scooters in skate parks. And so, right now, especially, I know we're closing down on the nice weather season, and this isn't going to be revisited until the spring, but any place for a child right now to be outside enjoying recreation in a place where they're able to get some energy out and have fun with their friends, I think should be something that should be celebrated. And I can't imagine there can't be a way that we can find a place for these specific scooters. We're not talking about any scooter. We're talking about specific skate park scooters. And the reason I say that is because, all these parks are listing inline skates. I can't tell you the last time I saw a middle schooler on rollerblades. I mean, that's what I used to do, and that was 30 years ago. So I feel like it's an argument that can be revisited for sure. I would be happy to be a part of the subcommittee, and I think that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Brian.
Okay, Brian.
Scott. Bridget, to add to your list, because I did the same research. I saw that Tony Tony Hawk comment as well. Scalzi in Stanford, you missed that one. They allow everything. At the same time, I did read a number of comments that warned against allowing it, and it tends to focus on who rides the scooters. A lot of times they're the younger kids who start with the scooters. They think they're pretty good. They're doing it in their driveway, and then they are brought to the skate park, and they don't know the rules of the skate park, and they really aren't yet up to speed. So there are some added dangers for, I don't have kids who skateboard or scooter. I'm just reporting what I was reading this afternoon, and there are some other reasons. There's also supposedly wax that is put on scooters that is not put on skateboards, and the wax rubs in the skate park, and it can make it more dangerous for the skateboarders. So I hear everything that you're saying, Bridget, and I agree with that, but there are some cons to supporting this as well.
Can members of the public speak, or is it closed?
Scott, this is Chris.
Go ahead, Chris. If I could just, Chris, hold on for a second. There's nothing before the commission right now as far as a motion goes to allow that would provide an opportunity for the public to speak. But once the commission members are done, we can open it up if we can keep our comments brief. So go ahead, Chris.
So, Brian, great point. Bridget, great point. I'm of two minds, in the sense I don't quite know where I fall on this. So I have two questions. I think these probably, if Anthony could help answer these. My first one is, Anthony, you'd mentioned something about the way this was constructed 30 years ago, and it wasn't necessarily built for BMX bikes or scooters. And when we relay this back to other towns like Scalzi or Milford or Westport, have scooters gotten to a point where they're not as destructive on this particular concrete? So that's kind of where I'm at. I know skateboards don't do any sort of destruction on this, but would bikes do this? Would scooters do this? Is this something that we're going to have to continuously fix every season? Or are trick scooters, there's no issue?
So, number one, I think when we're looking at skate parks, we've got to be cognizant of what type of skate parks we're looking at. If anybody's ever seen Westport Skate Park, their skate park's not like our skate park. Theirs is not a concrete skate park. It's like what our skate park used to be. Scalzi actually is pretty good comparison to what we have, but they're not staffed. We haven't had to do any maintenance on our skate park since we opened it in 2009, as far as replacing chipped or damaged edging or any of that kind of stuff. So our skate park's in really good shape for the age of it. It's still fairly new. So if we legally allowed scooters and bikes, because they're going in there, don't be fooled that they're not in there now, or they haven't been in there over the 10 years. They definitely have been. I just don't know how much more increased damage there would be, or how much more maintenance we'd have to do annually. Any maintenance that we'd have to do would be more than we're doing now. I think the bigger issue that you see with these scooters, mainly scooters, I don't even think the bikes are the big issue anymore. And anybody who has a kid who rides a scooter, ask them about snakes. I'm not talking about a garden snake or anything like that, but a scooter rider, when they swerve, and they swerve in front of a skater, they call that a snake, and they try to get the skater to fall off the skateboard. That's what we're seeing regularly at the skate park. And the scooter, this is not your typical 8-year-old scooter rider. These are the teenagers that are trying to be funny. But that's the biggest thing that we deal with down there, and it's tough to have them in the park at the same time. I'm not opposed to looking at figuring out a way to make this happen. This is one of the biggest things that gets talked about down at the skate park is, well, why can't we allow scooters? So, if it's a separate time or a separate day, or just different enforcement of what we've got going on down there, I'm open to it. It's just a safety hazard having them all in there at the same time.
So, Anthony, this is like question number 2 then. This is kind of where I'm thinking. Obviously, we're very early in the process, but yeah, I think like maybe dedicated times, depending upon what mode of transportation you're using. And then secondly, is there any particular reason, because I know it hasn't really snowed in Connecticut in about 3 years, why we have to shut down the park from Thanksgiving through April 1st?
Honestly, it was just I wouldn't want to say an arbitrary date, but essentially an arbitrary date that the commission set when we opened it up, due to the winter months. Essentially once it's covered with snow and ice, we can't find anybody to work those winter months regularly. Especially
but if we were to,
covered and then
if we ever went that free-for-all option, again, I mean, as we've seen, it can be 50 degrees in the middle of February.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that definitely, if it was free and open, then yeah, absolutely it could be. So it's a 50 or 60 degree day in December or January, absolutely. People would skate.
Anthony, I have a question. It's Bridget. When riders come to the park, do they have to sign any sort of liability waiver, or are they just, reading the rules and regulations that are posted and then also on the Parks and Rec website?
So right now they do have to sign a waiver, or they're obviously if they're under 18, the parents are signing the waiver. But yeah, they do sign that when they come to get their residency sticker. Currently, that was never a thing prior to COVID.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Yeah,
okay, I know we have a couple of members of. Oh, go ahead, David.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
This goes back 30 years with liability by the towns and all that, and I think I've lost track of all of it. So I think we should have, and I hate to keep bringing up risk management, but we should probably form a subcommittee. I'll serve on it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the commission? All right. And for those members of the public. Oh, okay. Brian?
Sorry, it's different. I just wanted to let you know that I'd be willing to serve on the subcommittee too.
All right. Well, there's some interest. There's no reason that we could not. Yeah, I can form it. All right. So we have you got Dylan. I think Bridget, you were interested. Is that right? And David?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. I know there was a couple members of the public that wanted to comment. All we ask is that you give us your name and address, and if anybody would like to speak, now would be the time.
Hi, this is Yasmin Osman. I could spell it for you if you need. I'm at 77 Cambridge Street in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. I do appreciate you forming a subcommittee. I think my son and his friends would really appreciate that, and it's definitely one step in the right direction. I just wanted to point out two things. I do think that all children go to the skate park to learn. I don't think that there's any sort of advanced level that you have to have in order to enter the skate park. So I think it was noted that the scooters are going there to learn. But my son first started out actually on a skateboard, and he went to the skate park to learn how to ride the ramps, and then he switched to a scooter. And my second point was that he has been taking his scooter in for all these years, the past 3 or 4 years, I guess, or maybe just 3. And he has been enjoying the park, and I think it's a great part of Fairfield. It's a great thing for the boys to be involved in, keeps them off the games, out of the house, especially this year in COVID. And I do appreciate the gentleman who asked if we could keep it open all year round, because we did used to visit it on the nice days in the winter. It's definitely, again, a great activity for the boys. So I appreciate your help, and hope you really consider it. If you need a member of the public on the subcommittee, I'd be happy to join in. I don't know how it works, but definitely interested, and my son is, looking forward to hearing positive news.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Oh, and one last thing. The wax that someone mentioned, it's actually skateboard wax, too. You can put it on a skateboard. It's not only for scooters. I'm just pointing that out. I don't think my son uses wax, but, it's not just for scooters.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, leave it.
Anyone else from the public like to comment?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is Faye Mylan. I'm at 115 Eunice Avenue. So I have 3 boys, and it's my youngest now who's frustrated that he can't go to the skate park. I've already lived through 2 older kids who have tried and couldn't with their scooters. But going there with my children, I spent a lot of time there, and I have never seen the boys with scooters snaking. I would say that snaking is something that is definitely done by the skateboarders, because there's sort of this dominance thing going on where the skate park is seen as just the skateboarders' territory, and the scooters are sort of seen as the mosquitoes to shoo away. The scooterers who are going there are young. I rarely have ever seen an adult or someone who is trying to be nasty or show their dominance go with a scooter. It's always been perplexing to me that a park that's designed for sort of learning and is totally geared towards children would be sort of quarantined and used only by those who are older. And honestly, there's, generally speaking, a negative element that is sort of associated with skate parks. For that reason, I spend a lot of my time there when my kids go, because there is this sort of negative element that I really don't want my kids exposed to, so I'm just going to be very watchful when they're there. I would think that the town would really appreciate the younger generation moving in to help escort that negative element out. I think the negative element doesn't really want to be around a bunch of Fairfield Beach area moms watching their young children. And I think it would help. I mean, I understood that there have been problems where, and there was a report of somebody beating up an attendant. So certainly if you have 5 moms watching their children scootering, you're not going to have as much of a negative element happening. So I'm really confused why this is a continuing problem. We've driven to take my kids and their friends to other skate parks, and it's not a problem in the nearby area. So I'm hopeful that we can sort of allow for children who are in scootering distance to the skate park to just scooter over with the pack of their friends and enjoy a facility that is a town facility. But it's listening to all of this, it's still very perplexing to me that this isn't just sort of a no-brainer.
When you say younger scooters, how old are they?
So this is elementary school, although honestly my middle schooler would very much still like to go to the skate park. He sort of, we went through this with him and his crew of friends already. We didn't get this far actually attending a meeting like this, but definitely it approached Anthony and approached the town in various other ways. And but I would say anywhere from middle school to elementary school. In elementary school, I would say my older two, the interest really started to grow at 4th grade. So somewhere around 9-10 years old.
Okay. Thank you. Any other members of the public who would like to comment? Okay, just some housekeeping. Is there any objection to forming a subcommittee by anyone? Okay, the subcommittee is formed by general consent, and there will be Dylan, Bridget, and David will serve on the subcommittee. You meet at your own as time allows. All right. If there's nothing else to talk about, go ahead, David.
What time? When does the skate park open? In the spring?
April 1st.
Okay. Thank you.
Anthony, when is it scheduled to close? This is Bridget.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, so I just have a quick question. If the subcommittee got together to discuss a possible extension of the season, we could potentially come to the full committee by our next meeting with a motion to extend.
You could do that, yeah.
Certainly could.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else on the skate park? All right, next up is the Board of Education report. Jessica. Did we lose Jessica? Give her a second here. I know she was on. Okay.
Scott,
if she does,
she had to run to a Board of Ed meeting, so she apologized.
Okay.
But she had to get there.
All right, fair enough. All right, so there will not be a Board of Education report. Next up is the Director and Program reports. Anthony, it's all yours.
Thank you. So you guys all should have received a copy of the report, I believe, this morning, if not yesterday. The staff has been working really hard on programming and just coming up with new things to program for in this COVID environment. A lot of stuff is outdoors. People aren't really interested in being indoors, so trying to really push everything outside. Some of the brand new things that I'm really impressed with the staff's doing, we just started offering football clinics, which really took off, almost full, really a younger age group. We have 2 completely full adult cornhole leagues that meet on Sunday down at Penfield Beach. We have 3 esports leagues right now, which are, for those of you who are not familiar with esports, that's basically video games. But they're giving out Division I scholarships now at many of the major colleges, so esports is really exploding. And then I think one of the coolest ideas that we've got going right now is our hole-in-one for hunger. We partnered up with Operation Hope, and we're doing a hole-in-one tournament down at the Par 3 golf course. It'll be the first hole on November 7th, and it's completely sold out. And the way people get a shot is by donating non-perishable food. So really a win-win for the town, our golf course, and for Operation Hope. This was replacing our typical foul shooting contest that we did indoors with basketball, like free throws. So very excited about that. Still working with the emergency management team about winter events. Specifically, the tree lighting won't happen in the fashion that it always has happened. Obviously, with COVID, we're not able to put large groups of people all together. So we're working on a virtual tree lighting where my staff's taking videos and from different departments and schools and vendors around town and businesses, and basically giving everybody a little holiday cheer. And then when all tied together, at the end of the video, there'll be an actual countdown where the tree gets lit, and that'll be synced with the actual tree on Town Hall Green, and we'll stream this on all our social media, working with Fair TV on having it live on their channel, and then we're going to work with the local news outlets to hopefully get it on to some of our Channel 12 and things like that. So the staff has been working really hard on that. It's going to take a lot of time, but I think it's going to be well worth it in the for the event. So phase 3, we are now in with the governor's executive order. So our Penfield Pavilion and Jackie Durrell Pavilions are finally able to open up. They've been closed since March, so it's a lot of refunds we've done, a lot of canceled events. But they are now open, and we're not allowed to have more than 90 people, so it still does limit the type of events and parties we're allowed to do, but we are still hopeful that we're going to get a few rentals this winter. I think to date we've had 5 booked this month, so people are still looking for space, which is nice. And then just a heads up that budget season is right around the corner. So I'll start meeting with the program coordinators, the Marina manager, DPW, and just start the initial stages of our budget planning. And for you guys, if there's anything that you guys have on your minds that you think we should be looking into or investing in, please let me know, and I'll do my best to include it in our upcoming budget. But then I'll present those to you guys later this winter.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Questions from anyone? Okay.
Well, I think you
no
should definitely expand that hole-in-one. I mean, I was going to get like 16 people in that, and then I kind of was slow on the draw, but that's an awesome idea.
Thank you. We've got 100. I think there's 125 in there right now, and that's the most that they'll allow us to do that we can really turn around. So, but yeah, we're excited about it.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions for the director? Okay. That concludes our meeting for this evening, just under good of the order. The only thing I would like to offer is, Anthony, as people come before us and make requests of the commission, if we could guide them a little bit on what the expectations of the commissions are, expectations are, I guess, so that when they come before us, they're actually asking for something specific as opposed to I want to place a box somewhere.
Understood.
All right. I mean, I should have caught that myself. So that's on me as well. But that was just a little bit too broad for us to even consider. And I think if we had more specifics, that would have been a lot quicker for us. Anything else from anyone else? All right.
Can we do a Zoom meeting some night or once in a while?
That would be better than the phone call. If everyone's up for that, I would do that.
I would like to do
why not?
That. If I can
well, I'll tell you what then, Anthony. Unless you have, can you coordinate that, or do you want us to coordinate that ourselves?
I didn't hear the request.
Can you coordinate a Zoom meeting, or would you like us to do that? It's pretty simple to do. I could spearhead that if you like.
I could do it. I have a bank account, so.
Well, the town has an account, and I know it has to be recorded if we do it. So we would just have to coordinate that through Jen Carpenter. But we did one for golf the other night, so we could definitely do it.
Oh, that'd be great. Could you take the lead on that for next month?
Yeah, I could send her an email saying we want to do it that way. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Okay. If there's nothing else, our meeting is now adjourned. It is, what time is it? 8:28. Thank you, everyone. And we will hopefully see you next month. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.